Welcome to another episode of All Things in the Name of Love. And today I have with me a beautiful soul, Isabelle Daikeler. And we just started talking before we got to know each other or start recording. And she was describing the most magical place she's in. But before I get into that, um, Isabelle is an intuitive energy healer. She uses a harmonic egg. She uses sound and frequency and helps people dive more deeply into who they are, which is what we all need right now. So I'm so grateful that you've taken the time out to share a conversation with me, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much. Yeah.
You're welcome. So I want to start with, because I want to get back to the amazing space you're
Yeah.
in, but I want to start with tell me a little bit about your spiritual journey because that's my introduction for everyone.
Well, I'm sure you will relate to that. Is sometimes we have like points of reference where we feel we start our spiritual journey, but really, if you look back, it's like, oh, it was like 30 years before that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like looking back that there's so many little seeds that I had to follow, and all of it is my spiritually guided journey. But really, that's everyone, right? That if you could look with some distance looking back, you'd be like, oh, I see how this was a hint and another hint and another hint. And I was just not quite paying attention and it had hit me on the head a little bit more. And so it was a journey of that. But the most important ones, I think, for us, is okay, let me pick. I think a while back in my early 20s, I think. I had a car accident, really a car crash. And I sort of couldn't walk well. I had a big limp, and I was told that I was going to limp for the rest of my life. And it threw me into a search for why was it that all the rehabilitation people could not get me back on my feet because I couldn't accept it. I was a
Mm-hmm.
track and field assistant coach, a trainer, rehab specialist, sport massage, sport nutrition, and sport psychology. So fitness and being strong was my identity.
Mm-hmm.
And but it threw me in a whole path of research of the body that I didn't know about in my training. So I learned to get myself back on my feet with alternative ways that were not quite mainstream at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it was somatic work. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it also put me in touch with a lot of emotional aspect of our well-being or not feeling so well.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't clear on it, but I could tell that my emotional state had a lot to do with how well I was doing and how I could absorb the information physically, embody it, and get better. So that was a little hint there. And then I had a bout of what they would call chronic fatigue syndrome. At the time, it was very early on. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
have that wording. It doesn't mean anything much anyway. They just don't really know what it is. And then it threw me into 2, 3 years of getting worse and worse and worse until I couldn't work. I was borrowing money on my credit cards. I couldn't pay my rent. I lost all my clients, got really freaked out. Doctors were telling me that, I was just depressed. And I remember telling them, yes, I'm depressed. It's the most sane reaction to what's
Yeah.
happening to me right now. Nobody knows what's going on. But I was led to Koreatown, where little ladies ended up looking at my tongue and my eyes and my pulse. I didn't know anything about that at the time. And gave me a huge basket of adaptogen herbs and mushrooms and roots. And I didn't know anything at the time about
Mm-hmm.
all these things and told me how to cook. And I would cook very thick little potion that I would drink. And after 2, 3 years of nothing helping me and getting worse, I started getting better.
Mm-hmm.
And that became part of my arsenal, even with my clients later down the line. And I eventually co created a product that had all these elements in it. So it really is part of my life. I continued
Mm-hmm.
my education about it. Um, and that, those plants connected me deeper with energetics, but just through the plants, just to cooking it, noticing that even the time that it took me to create the potions was very healing. And my
Mm-hmm.
connection to it was very healing. So not completely full consciousness of it all, but there was a hint there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that led me to some water. Led me to at 40, I'm 59 almost. And at 40, I gave birth to my boy. And that was 17 years ago, 18 years ago. And I couldn't walk for about 12 years. So that ripped my identity. So the kind of mother I thought I was going to be, very athletic, the kind of
Mm-hmm.
wife, just as an individual, my value, what I thought I was, what I represented, how I benefited the world with whatever I had to offer, everything disappeared. I was in chronic pain, acute pain. Um, I was on the floor and I'd just given birth. And after a long period, I was in a deep, almost a deep depression. And I call it my first real prayer. So religion was very light in my life. God, I could sense it. I believed it. But if you told me, oh, there's nothing, it wouldn't have changed much. I could tell that if I'm a good person and I behave well and I don't, hit other people or yell at them, tends to go better in my life. Of course, but I'd be like, well, I'll just be the best person I can be still. So it was not very present. It was there, but again, subtle. That night when I surrendered because I was so depressed and so sad and so scared because I couldn't walk and I just gave birth to a boy and the pain was unbearable. Nobody could help me again. Years and years of searching. So I was just sort of giving up, completely surrendered. And in that complete surrender, and by that I mean I didn't know how to fix it anymore. I didn't have there was nothing here could get me out of this situation. I was F, right?
Yep.
I don't know if I can say that word, but
You
that's
totally
how
can.
I was fucked.
Yeah.
I felt done. Um, thank God I had my boy, right? So you don't want to leave because you're there and you want to be there for your children or your child. But it was my prayer. It was a deep prayer. And in that night is when everything changed for me. So that night I was on the floor with my feet on a chair, 90-degree, my body on the floor. And I just, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And my body started shaking. So I was on my tailbone and
Mm.
my upper body and lower body like went up and I started shaking 3 days, 3 nights nonstop. I
Wow.
always say if I felt like I had to pee, it would know, it would stop. I would crawl to the bathroom and on my way back, I would start shaking again and would crawl all the way right back to where I was, back on a V shape and back on shaking. And I could feel it. Like I had no questions. I was not afraid. I knew this was all good. I felt taken care of. I felt safe, and it just went on and on and on. And really, the night before we left, we were in Kauai, is when it stopped. And this is when the guidance stepped in louder. So I believe we all have guidance. It just
Mm-hmm.
now became in the forefront. I
Mm-hmm.
could actively access it. And when I went back home over a short period of time, healing work, like feeling the energetic, feeling the air like it's ocean and my hands being guided, all that was after. And that's when my life really went 180. And I'm still integrating all that. I'm still
Yeah.
growing.
Yeah.
But all these mute aspect of my life became the forefront,
Mm.
right? And suddenly I wasn't feeling alone.
Mm.
I had a sense of fields around me that were there constantly teaching me, guiding me. Like it all
Mm.
became very real. And even like the great masters, the great books, right? I would read them and now, and even more now, 18 years after that event, all the things they say, all the great ones, it all makes sense. Once you connect more consciously with that aspect of what we are, the energetics, the fields. Quantum makes sense, as you know, like all of it, all they say, we are one, all of it settled,
Mm,
layer after layer after layer. And then, of course, the integration of that in your behavior, in your central nervous system, that's
mhm.
what takes a little while. The body is denser, and we
Yes.
have our blockages and our fears and our fear of the unknown and all that stuff, sort of depending on who you are, gets in the way. But
Hmm.
the process of growth and integration and letting go and surrendering and faith, which is knowing,
Yeah.
which is the unknown, all
Yeah.
of this, it all starts to make sense. And this is really when I started doing the healing work, working with the harmonic egg, which is sound and light,
Mm,
what you would call Reiki is the healing work, and guidance and conversation, tapping into guidance, getting their feedback. That's when my life really changed. I hope it wasn't too long.
no, I think it's perfect because like it is a journey, and when we have there's so many things that are going through my head, I gotta just calm down for a second and figure out what the next question is because there's so many. So I want to go back to the point where you were in that V shape because regularly when I hear sound, my body just shakes.
Mm.
When I do somatic work, my body will either like move in strange
Oh,
places,
yeah.
or I'll start making sounds I've never heard come out of me.
Yes. And they're usually not beautiful sounds, right? They're
No,
guttural and off
no.
key. And yeah,
Yeah, but and loud, and sometimes like
yes,
a couple weeks ago, because I do somatic work weekly as a kind of maintenance,
beautiful.
and my friend Angela and I were doing something really deep, and I heard a whimper, and I was like,
Mm.
"Hi."
Mm.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. So, like,
Yes.
do you notice when you receive downloads, are you like in that space of like the physical like responses to it, or was it just that one time?
Well, no, no, not at all. That
Okay.
one time was for me, the big, hey, hello, and liberation, sort of helping my
Yeah.
body because of
Mm,
the somatic trauma and layering of stressors, right?
yeah.
Also, my body was in a mishappen shape, meaning I was then led to finding a person who could
Mm,
help me, and it was years
mhm.
of rehabilitation, right? So it's not like I got up and everything was good. It was just the
Yeah.
introduction.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always say it's as if it was the introduction, that all along I had a third arm, but I never used it. And it could be really useful, right? You could carry more dishes, you could do more things at the same time.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
just this aspect of who we are that we
Hmm.
just forget, we just have forgotten. So there was a big introduction. It was helping me to start the healing and proceed in the next phase of my life. When I get that, so like I said, it's been years of slowly allowing all that to seep into my day to day. So the
Hmm.
downloads now and the guidance doesn't create that shaking unless I'm home and I say, this is for me now. And I don't need anything. I just lay on the floor and it will happen.
Mm.
Or it may not, like you said, it may not be movement. It may be, I often go in my backyard on the grass and I'm just present for whatever is needed. Sometimes it's more like Tai Chi. Sometimes it
Hmm.
is sound. Sometimes it's more like yogic sound. Sometimes I'm not in charge and I don't ask what it is. I
Yeah.
just know that it's the human body sort of, finding
Yeah.
its way, and integration of that energetic aspect of ourself and all the clearing and the healing that it enhances in our physical being, right? The body is that as well, right? The body is what does quantum say, like 99.9% space.
Yeah.
So we are mostly fields, right?
Hmm.
With a little bit of body that seems so real and so hard, so solid to our eyes. So I allow it when it's time for me to allow it. But if I talk to people now, it's not in service of me that way. I'm at work basically, and it's
Hmm.
service of
Hmm.
the individual. So
Hmm.
now it all goes for the individual, for
Mm.
the information, which is verbal.
Yeah.
The sounds, if there's sounds coming out, will be for them. It's me
Hmm.
and them connecting. I feel like a conduit, right? It's obvious that I don't do the
Yeah.
healing. I'm
Yeah.
just a bridge, I'm just a conduit. Their
Hmm.
fields and the fields are communicating through me, with me,
Yeah.
and I'm just there helping the coordination. And so, if sounds, if breath,
Hmm.
if talking, um, if movements, if even body work. So before all that, I was doing a Chinate song, and it's a Chinese modality body work in the gut, the whole body, but it's really good for the gut as well, for for the belly.
Hmm.
And so recently that came back online,
Hmm.
and I'm guided to do some moves sometimes. So it's about them. So when I connect for them, it's for them. And when it's for me, it's for me. Yeah.
Hmm. I definitely feel that because like the animals will regularly come into my field and tell me something that I don't know.
Mm, that's
And
right.
so then all of a sudden all the other sessions are like, "Oh, you learned that one. I want this too." And I'm like, "Okay, like it's like for example, trace minerals.
Mm,
We're all lacking trace minerals. If a dog is eating dirt, it's because they're lacking trace minerals."
mm,
Never occurred to me because I hadn't really thought of it. And then
mm.
one of the dogs I worked on said, "Hey, I need trace minerals." And I was like, "Of course you do." So bringing in that like but it hasn't come in a while because the dogs I'm working with don't need it right now. So it's like bringing in those modalities or those tools that you have as you flow through and how like a certain demographic of beings that come into your field may need the same thing because it's a wave that's coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I don't ever try to understand. I'm fascinated by it because I'm like, "Huh, okay, this is coming in right now. I wonder what this is about." And
Yeah. It's
it's just
fun not to know, right?
it's amazing not to
Yeah.
know. And I
Yeah.
love also the innate wisdom of our bodies.
Yes. Yes. That's not talked enough, but it's starting, just like somatic work, it's starting to really be tapped into in a real way.
Well, and I'll give an example. So I was in a situation where I was with one that was not in the same frequency as me. Oh, that was such a good way to say it. Uh, and for a while, because I had just come off the last sit with very anxious dogs, and my mom died in the middle of the sit, and it was just a whole,
Oh, wow.
it was a whole thing. So I was, what I use is term dysregulated. I was just overwhelmed, overstimulated,
Yeah.
needed quiet. Because my body knew that I needed quiet, I ended up like doing 5 hours a day of mahjong. I don't even like mahjong. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but I was also like, what am I doing? And it was my body was trying to regulate me
Oh, wow.
through pattern
Yes. Yes.
recognition. I was like, this
Exactly.
is so fascinating because I'm like, I can do many other things right now. I was like, nope, you just need to regulate. And I'm like, okay. And then I've had situations where I've seen people and my body does not want their energy, so I physically turn away from them. And
Mm,
interesting. So, have you noticed
yeah.
anything like that with
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think I kind of learned that, yeah, even way back then when I was doing work with the adaptogen herbs and mushrooms.
Hmm.
Um, it's been too long now. I don't remember the specific way that it connected, but this is, like I said, this is when I realized the energetics of the plants
Yeah.
and my body. There was a connection there. There was a communication there. I could feel it when I
Mhm.
was holding it, when I was cooking it. There was something to all the hours I was spending with the plants, with the herbs, with the mushrooms. That
Mhm.
something connected there
Mhm.
physically, right? And through even all the years of rehabilitation, it becomes very clear that the body is, it's not a mind body connection. It's a whole. And again,
Yeah.
I go back to the same thing. Sorry, because of my allergies, it's kicking in.
Get water.
Yes. Um, that's what I realized. I realized, yeah, we're just fields. The body is field. All of it is just layers of fields. Of course, it's all one. Of course, it's connected. And of course, it's intelligent. And of course, it knows what it needs. And if we start paying attention, like perhaps some people do the little turning, perhaps more in a more subtle manner, or they do
Mhm.
it, they disconnect physically with a different kind of gesture. Maybe perhaps they look down, they look
Mhm.
away, perhaps they
Yeah.
put their hair in their face in front of their face, right? Like there's
Mhm.
so many ways that you can try to disconnect, but noticing, oh, what is this about? Like noticing and
Yeah.
wanting to have the curiosity to understand if
Yeah.
it's not, if something doesn't happen to like just get you connected to it the way you or I have gone, there's a different, there's different ways of entry. There's
Yeah.
lots of entry points. So that
Mhm.
could be for whoever is listening, that could be your entry point. Oh yeah, I do that sometimes. I do round my shoulder, look down, go, wait, what is my body telling me? And that's
Mhm.
somatic work. So the body is you. The body is just you. It's just energy fields, just a
Mhm.
little tiny bit denser. So just that's why the power of slowing down and pausing, the power of breath, it just allows you a little beat.
Mhm.
Take the time just for a moment. It doesn't have to be hours. Don't
Yeah.
talk yourself out of it because, oh, I'm supposed to sit for
Yeah.
2 hours a day or 30 minutes a day, twice a day. Or I'm supposed to do a yoga class. I'm supposed to do meditation. I hate meditation.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a breath. Just look outside for a few seconds. Anything that would allow yourself to
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
connect. That's the body is an amazing way to talk to you. If it is
Yes.
harder for you to connect to your internal state, emotional state, mental state, if you talk yourself out of it, if you're afraid of it, the body is an incredible source. It's an incredible tool that if you start paying attention, why your hands are sweaty? Why do you clench your fist? Do you clench your butthole? Like, are you tense in your sternum? Like, there's so many things we do. The jaw,
Yeah.
um, you know, constantly tapping on something. Like all these signals is your body telling you something.
Mhm.
You could simply pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Be curious and breathe through it. Don't go too
Mhm.
mental. Don't try to understand too much. I think the power
Yeah.
is to notice and breathe and just keep watching. Therefore, the great master, be the watcher. Pull
Yeah.
away a little bit and try to watch that behavior, watch that sensation, that feeling. Just
Yes.
watch it and breathe. And that
Mhm.
way you are processing it. And that's the central nervous system. You just want to allow the body to do what it does so well. But
Mhm.
if you take these sensations and you try to hook it up to your intellect and find reasoning and why not, and it's
Yeah.
because of, and she did, and I wasn't enough, and all the I'm not enough, they're not enough, I'm not lovable, they're not lovable, they did, I didn't, all these things interferes. This is
Mhm.
why mental quietness is helpful. You just want to give it a break, but you can just breathe. Two breath, one breath. I'm tight in my sternum. I'll just take a breath. I'll just notice. I'm not going to try to figure out why.
Mhm.
And in those moments, this is where guidance, where intuition, where life's wisdom has space. You give it a little space. The same way that I was in the chair all alone saying, I'm fucked. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. I finally stopped trying to fix myself and I
Mhm.
gave space to spirit, vibration, God, insert anything you like,
Yep.
the intelligence, nature's intelligence, the forces, the all that is, doesn't
Mhm.
matter. But I gave it a moment, little little space where I can allow it in. And that's
Mm.
the key, to
Yeah.
give yourself that grace, to have that moment of compassion for yourself, that you're worth that one breath, that
Yeah.
one beat, to allow yourself to be lovable enough to feel what you need to feel, and
Yeah.
then move on.
That was so succinctly described because we do tend to, like, I had an experience this week where I had a shift in my schedule. Now, I don't usually care about schedules. I don't, but like this one gave me pause for a moment and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm feeling a little fear.
Mm.
I'm not going to analyze it. I'm not going to take action. I'm just going to be present with it. I'm going to feel it. And it was in my heart. And I was like, hi. And just breath, little tears and no judgment. Because whatever it is, my body needs to express it.
Yeah. Yeah. If we did that a little bit more, and people are afraid sometimes that if they do that, a torrent of tears that will never end, or anger that will never end, or they feel like they'll be taken over by these emotions. But if you allow the emotions to move through you without hooking to your intellect, like you said, just allow it, just feel it, it
Hmm.
passes quite rapidly.
Yeah. I mean, you
And
may have waves, but
yeah, it's gonna be okay. It will never be the terrible, ugly, useless thing that you want to make it
right,
out of
right.
fear of going there.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so much healthier because then you can be more authentic with yourself and with everyone
Yeah,
around you. And
yeah,
it's like that lifting of the weight of the masks that we put on each other because we're scared of how
yes,
we're going to show up. When you remove that, life is so much more like relaxing.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because like we're in this fear of that's that worthiness issue, it's abandonment, it's separation, it's whatever you want to call it.
Safety. I want to be safe.
Yeah, and you are safe. I am safe as I am in my heart space. I don't need anything outside of me to tell me otherwise
Yeah,
because it just doesn't work that way.
yeah, and it's a, it's very simple. It's very true. It it can be hard. It can be
Yeah,
very challenging because some of us may be in wild situations, right?
yeah,
Where it's anything but safe. So trying to
yeah,
intellectually listen to this and like, yeah, fuck you. I am not safe at all, right? And I have to be on my guard, otherwise I'll be, who knows what. So
yeah,
people are in incredibly difficult situation often.
mhm,
And
yeah,
so it can be almost you feel like you spit on the face when you hear that and you just want to
mm,
dismiss it all
yeah,
because you
yeah,
are in a very scary time
right.
in your life. And
Hmm.
that's why I think it's important to reinforce what we just discussed earlier. Like I totally get that. And
Yeah.
also staying in all the time is obviously you can see when someone is in that state, like you can feel that that's
Yeah,
not helping you. So
right.
if you can take one breath and just connect to something, you don't even don't I don't want to phrase it, I don't want to put spiritual
Hmm.
terminology to it, I'm not trying to sell it to you, just saying, what do you have to lose to take that one breath and see from this to this for 5 seconds? Does it feel good? Because normally the body will say, "Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
That felt really good, right?"
yeah,
And that's a little hook. Like you can, oh, maybe I'll take another breath later down the line. But it's challenging, and I have been
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah, I have
So I
too.
remember hearing all, or the that's what I meant earlier when I said I reread those books. I would
Hmm.
read books and I'd be like, "Ah, I, I'm in this place. Like, I'm in
Yeah,
pain. I'm alone. Nobody can
yeah.
help me. I'm broke. I'm 2 minutes away from being in the streets." You
Mm,
know, you can, and there's a lot worse than that, even. So you read these things or you hear these things and you just want to push it away.
yeah.
Makes you so angry. And then, wow, do I get that? And that's why I wanted to just take a pause and say, that is true and you can take your breath,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
And and you can, if you don't have a grass, a backyard, anything, you can go to a park and put your feet on the grass and you can take a moment and look at the sky. Or you can close your eyes and put your hands on your sternum, your belly, and take that breath.
Hmm.
And it will give you something. I don't even want to describe it. It will do
No, just
something.
something. Yeah, it will do something.
And just pay attention to that. Like, this is where the sense of safety that you describe can begin.
Mm-hmm. I feel that so deeply because like we get so caught up. I mean, our society is predominantly anxious and narcissistic. Um,
And scary. There's
and
wild stuff
scary.
happening.
Yeah, and to like I had a conversation with somebody yesterday. She was like, I'm anxious all the time. I says, because you're
Of course,
feeling the
because we are
collective.
fields after fields after
Right,
fields. So there's no boundaries between my field and the tree and
right.
the minerals and the other person and the millions and millions of human beings that live
Mhm.
all around you, and all our fields are
Yeah,
intertwined. So
yeah.
yes,
And if you don't
yes,
have,
we feel.
yeah, and if you don't have tools to mitigate that, you're going to feel overwhelmed. And so just being, I do not watch news. I don't really care because like if it's not like anything that I need to know is within.
Mm.
And that's kind of a full-time job. When you actually go within, you're like, I don't have time for anything else. I don't have time for drama. I don't have time for like, you know what I mean? Because it's like,
Yeah.
what am I hearing? What am I being
Yeah.
present with? And that's like to somebody who doesn't do that, it's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't have time for the news. I don't have time for distractions. I have to pay attention to me because that's what feels good.
Yeah. It does feel good, actually. It's uncomfortable in the beginning, but it has a
Oh
little hook. Has a little hook where you're like, it was uncomfortable, but I kind of liked it somehow.
yeah.
You know?
Kind of like that. It's kind of yeah. Huh. I wonder what it feels like if I'm quiet even more. Like I started one of my friends tuned me into Zodiac FM where you upload your astrology and it will create sound for you
Oh, I heard about that. It's called
specifically for
Zodiac
you.
FM.
Yeah, Zodiac FM and so I bought it a month ago, like it's a subscription. I like 2 months ago I had it. I'm like, oh, this sounds great. And then like this week I finally started listening. I'm like, oh, this is made for me. And this
Oh,
morning, as I just listen to like two frequencies in the morning, and then I do a meditation. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool because I get to gift myself quiet and presence while I'm receiving these frequencies that
oh.
are designed for me, not anyone else.
Yeah, you just reminded me of it, and you might be my, my button, my tap that I'll finally do it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's so fascinating because like when we because frequencies are so important, like what we listen to, who we speak with, how we show up in the world, it affects us.
Yeah. Well, again, let's go back to the
Yeah,
99.9 space, which most
yeah,
people acquiesce to right now in our world. So again, that means space, that means vibration,
yeah.
fields, energetics, all whatever you call it.
Hmm.
So then it makes sense. When you see yourself as that, then hearing you say, yeah, those frequency affects me in a very good, positive manner, you're more
Yeah,
inclined to believe it because now you're like, yes, that's what I am, and therefore
right.
it's affecting me.
Yeah.
Those
And it
sound
totally,
waves affects me.
oh yeah. I had a girlfriend play her tuning forks for me this morning and I just felt
Mm,
myself shake a little. I was like, oh, that's so cool that I'm receiving this. Because
yes,
that's, when we realize that there are lower frequencies, different frequencies, not lower, just different frequencies
yeah,
that try
some
to keep,
more the root chakra, and
right.
yes,
And they
yes,
want to keep us in a state of fear. They activate our reptilian brain, they activate our amygdala and the cortisol. But that's not who we are. This divine being that we are, the human body is the highest technology on the planet.
it's
We
pretty amazing, I have to
yeah,
say.
we just don't remember that right now,
Yes, yes,
right? But as we're in this beautiful time of consciousness where we're in the awakening to remember things. I'm having gifts come on pretty regularly. I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know I could do that," or "Oh, wow, my clairvoyance has gotten a lot stronger in the past 2 weeks." Okay, cool. That's going to be normal, right? All
yeah.
of these clear gifts, all of these supernatural abilities are coming online. We're getting hit with solar frequencies, the Schumann resonance is spiking up. I don't even know what else is happening. Like, you know what I mean? There's so much stuff going on. And when we, and that's probably, it's contributing to the chaos that a lot of humans are feeling is because like they don't know how to process this. So it's another reason to get into presence and to bring you to your beautiful space
Wow, well
because
done.
yeah, thank you. totally, because you were describing to me that magic that you were in, and I want to
Oh, yeah.
speak to it first, what it is, and then how it has helped inform you on your journey, because I know it has.
Um, well, I always resonated with nature. So I was not a good meditator, but if I sat out in nature, I could sit there quietly for quite a long time.
Hmm.
Sounds really affected me always. Sounds of the birds, the obvious, the wind in the branch of trees.
Hmm.
Um, that sound, like when it's so pretty. Birds, the ocean, all that. That's my meditation. So it makes so much sense that I landed. So the place that I call authenticity is in the middle of a mountain here in LA and has several lakes around it, and you can see the ocean. And there's huge trees everywhere. I have all sorts of animals, and I created a little temple. And that in that temple, underneath the floors are huge, huge crystals in the shape of a mandala that somebody did for me. It's encased
Beautiful.
in cement. So I was about to tell you, told me, stop, stop. I was about to say, between those huge crystals and the immense, you know, gifts of nature that I have around me, literally birds land because my temple has windows all around. There's always birds there. Sometimes they tap at the windows. I was about to say, if I suck that day, I know nature and the crystals will take over. I'll be okay. So it's foolproof.
Ah.
But yes, that aspect of my life also became a big part of my life. Like
Mhm.
I've gone through a lot of physical stuff, and it's always when I'm quiet, alone, and in pain. When you're in pain, there's nothing
Mhm.
like tuning into the vibrational field, and you start with the sounds all around you, even if it's cars. You
Mhm.
can tap in, you can listen,
Mhm.
and it focuses your central nervous system to a different place. It's saying yes, but you can look here as well. Yes, it's painful here, but you can look there as well.
Mhm.
And doing this more and more helps your body not stay by default in that chronic scared place.
Mhm.
So it's like tuning your own instrument. So I made sure that the whole space was that, so that
Mhm.
and the people have to drive for a few minutes around a lake and go up, and there's huge tree on each side, and I can tell as soon as people arrive right away, just right away,
Yeah.
something happened before I participated.
I can feel it because,
I'm
like,
cheating.
well, no, I mean, there's something truly magical about um encountering a large tree.
Oh yeah,
It's just like the presence is like, hi. My
so
favorite.
true.
I I have three tree friends that are really big. One is in Eugene at the University of Oregon. He's an oak, and his presence was so powerful. I had to ask permission to sit with him.
Mm,
And this was before I knew anything about how intuitive I was. I just
mm,
felt him. I'm like, oh, you're the anchor of the campus.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, do I have permission to sit with you? And he's like, well, thank you for asking. Of course you do. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And yeah, I trees just there's something when you're present with a tree and they want to talk to you, they will talk to you.
Yeah. And again, to help include everyone, you don't have to hear any words or sense any words. You can
Yeah.
just feel by if you need to touch the trunk and
Mm-hmm.
focus on the scales, or I don't know what it's called in English, but the the the
The bark.
richness of the tactile sensation, the
Yeah.
bark
Yeah.
of the tree, and look at the branch or the leaves and just start focusing on a tree, connecting that way.
Hmm.
Don't walk away because you didn't hear it talk. It doesn't
Right.
matter because it will
No, they don't.
access you the way you need to be accessed.
For
Again,
me, it's not usually a conversation like we're having. It's more telepathy and
yes, yes.
feeling. It's a
Yeah,
lot of
that's what I
feeling.
meant. Feel the
Yeah.
words or hear the, it's not hearing like a
No.
voice, but
No.
But there is a real sense of conversation, and many
Yeah.
won't have that, but not yet.
Not
But
yet, but they want to. They
but you're
really
gonna
want to.
connect. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have a different entry point. So
Mm,
just be present again. Surrender, be present for it.
mm.
I had the same thing with a tree years ago in Santa Barbara. I forgot what hotel. I wish I remember because I tell people to go check him out. But we were checking in and I looked to the right and it was a big, huge open windows, and there was this old, gigantic, I don't even know what type of a tree, but gigantic. And that was before all
Mm,
this. And I remember walking and holding it, touching it, and just loving it and thinking, whoa, that is the best. That is the best. Because
yeah.
it was so powerful. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, there's some I don't know, I met a redwood up in Orcas Island and this was a couple years ago and the redwood actually had a conversation with me and it freaked me out
Mhm.
because I was like, "Oh, you talk." And I was like, "Yeah, and you need to meditate with me." And so I did. And the download that I got was so intense in the course of 5 minutes that I got a headache.
Mm,
Like you, oh, you've been waiting for someone like me, and the tree's like, no, I've been waiting for you, and I'm like, no, no, someone like me, not me,
mm,
because I was like, okay, this is really intense. But all of the trees on Orcas Island, like I was guided down a path because the trees told me where to go. Like
yeah.
this is so magical. So they really want to communicate with us.
Yeah.
Everything does. Rocks want to communicate with us. Everything because everything is alive.
Yeah. Yeah. And
We have.
again, for the people that listen, to add to you were guided, again, that's not crazy and that's not difficult.
Mm,
But if you're not present, so if you're thinking of the problem that you had with your friend who yelled at you and said the thing that wasn't true, and then if only this person has stood up for me and I'm so angry because she just stood there. Like if you're busy doing that as you're taking your walk, you're not present.
yeah.
But if you just, again, because it's cheap and it's present and everybody's got it, your breath, if you can take a few breaths
Yeah.
and maybe like hear the sound of your feet hitting the ground, you're starting to be more present and you may feel, oh, you know what, I want to make a left, right? So what she's saying is not like you have to be special. You have to
No.
be present. That's
Yeah.
why the great masters talk about presence and the present moment.
Mm,
Now, be here now. That's what it's all about. It's
yeah.
just, and then you're just more, it's as if you are listening to hard rock music with those ear things, and somebody is trying to get your attention, but you can't hear it because you're
Hmm.
listening to your hard rock music and you cranked it up to 10. But if you bring it down to one, oh, you're going to hear the person calling you out. You're going to
Hmm.
take and you're going to be like, oh, what? And it could be an amazing conversation here that you're
Yeah.
having. That's the same principle.
Yeah,
It
it
just
is.
requires you to take the muff off, be
Yeah.
present, and make the space for it. So my what I love to do is to remind everyone that there's nothing special about it. I'm not special. You're not special. It's how we're built. Again, like you said, it's the magic of the incredible body and the field that we are made of, that we are. And it's just pausing a moment, making the space for those moments to build that it becomes more and more part of your life. And you'll have your own fantastical moments. And then eventually you'll look back and realize that it's become your normal and it's
Hmm.
enhanced your life. And that's really the goal.
Hmm. Well, I'm looking at the time and I'm realizing that in the construct of the 3D, it's almost two.
Wow. That went
So
fast.
I know, because it's a great conversation.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna ask you the final question that I have, and that is, how do people find you?
And thank you for asking.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
So it's easy. My website and on Instagram is authenticitystressless.com.
Mm,
Authenticitystressless.com. Small presence on Instagram, and you just go to the website and you can see Harmonic Egg. We didn't talk about it, but there's a few all over the United States. Harmonic Egg is light and sound, Freaking
Mm.
love it. Complete central nervous system reset. You come out of there feeling like you're a little master meditator, even if you suck. So there's not just mine, there's a whole bunch of them. But you'll see the few commodities that I offer, and you just email us.
Oh, so delightful. Isabel, thank you so much for your beingness,
Thank you.
for your time, and for sharing this time with me.
Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciated it.
You are so welcome.